Okay, kind of like a part two to the first part about these migrants in this area. As I was saying, a lot of them come from this same type of environment in the country where they were at. Poverty, crime, gangs. And as you can see, it's been about a good year almost since we got our newly elected mayor, Brandon Johnson. And these dudes, these migrants, are blending in very well with working these streets. They hustling. They got the women out there doing their thing with the sisters. And they getting into shit. They getting into things, but I gotta admit, for every little group of them that you might see that's gonna be out here on the main set, on the main strip, it's a brother watching over them from a local gang. This is how we do. This is what we do. Y'all can do this. Y'all can do that. You making money off of something, they gonna get they cut. Or else. If anybody can remember, at least as far back as the 90s, all the industry in America was packing up and going overseas and across the borders to Canada and Mexico. All kinds of major corporations and companies, multi-million-dollar companies, multi-billion-dollar companies and corporations moving across the borders. Americans were out of work. And if the migrants are coming here for work, most of the major work of American companies are in Mexico and Canada. So what jobs are they getting if everybody packed up and moved across the borders? Most of the auto industry in Detroit is in Canada. Some of it is in Mexico. Not just American car manufacturers, but some Japanese with assembly plants making certain things. But they coming here to find work. And there was a group of them walking right past me right now. No fear. But 20, 30 years ago, this neighborhood used to be the straight up jungle. And there's a lot of places like that in Chicago on the south side. I remember coming over here in 1990. And it was a time in this area where if you wasn't a local and nobody didn't know you or your situation, and you just wanted to come over here lollygagging, looking around, something bad would happen to you. Guaranteed. Now, they cleaned that up within the last 10, 12, 13 years. The area is being gentrified. As you can see over here, they got a whole new row of fresh buildings that were just built that wasn't here a few years ago. Everything quieted down. The crime kind of slowed down, but like I said, it's still a little rugged over here. But now it's about to get rough again. Because I remember just a couple of blocks over in this neighborhood, back in the early 90s, you had blocks over here where the gangs had so much control that it could be like 200 to 300 people in the street lined up to buy drugs. And the people directing them would have machine guns like Tech 9s and Mac 10s tucked down in their pants in the middle of the fucking afternoon with immunity. And it wasn't like the police was scared to approach him. It's just that they weren't going to make no move unless it was 20 or 30 of them with more backup on standby. because the police was just as crazy as the gangs back then. It's a whole different story today. But yeah, this neighborhood used to be the jungle, and it's cleaned up very well. But one thing about it, with the blacks and the migrants gonna get some big help from the government as far as money, finding places to stay, home ownership. The black folks ain't gonna get that. They gonna get pushed out of this neighborhood. And I can remember when the buildings didn't look so nice and clean. They really cleaned this area up a lot. But I don't like the idea, never liked the idea that in order for something to get better, you got to get rid of the black folks. I don't agree with that. So a lot of these properties are old, precious. They can never be reduplicated. They'll stand for another 100 years if they taken care of well. But as black folks, we getting forced out. And like one other YouTuber says, it's the boule class that's moving in, buying up all this stuff now. You got white folks over here now. You got all kind of other kind of people that's not my color over here now. And 15, 20, 30 years ago, that was unheard of. And like I said before, if you wasn't a local face, you could be the same color. But if you wasn't from around here and some of the locals saw you, you would have something bad happen to you. I don't know what's going to happen with this crisis, but as black folks, we can no longer depend on somebody's color running for office that's going to look out for us. This current mayor that we have is so bolden to turn his back and just ignore his own people. It's just ridiculous. The days of voting for somebody black in this city that's going to look out for black people, that died when Harold Washington died. Wake up, smell the coffee, get the facts. You old civil rights people with the church hats on Sunday, step aside and let the young generation step up and come up with new ways and new ideas of getting things done that's so-called unorthodox. Because what happened 50 and 60 years ago, that was a different time, a different place, and it had a meaning in that time. Not anymore, not today. I really wasn't prepared to make this video, but I'm at work right now. I got some downtime, but this is the area, like one of the first or the second places where the migrants came to in the closed down Wadsworth Elementary School, which is only like a couple of blocks from here. And like I said, I'm seeing a guy with his hat cocked to the left 15, 20, 30 years ago. You wasn't doing that unless you was hooked up with somebody, with some gang. So apparently, they being absorbed in by the locals, and they up here on the street doing their thing. There could be more that I have to say about this, but not at this time. I'll see if I can make another video later.